You were cheered, but how did it feel to return?
Smattering of applause amongst the some 3,900 fans here.
Lose, win is win. This is real win.
Credit the ownership of the Rockets, the Tita family for putting my jersey in the rafters. Hopefully that shows on the court, off the court, the contribution that I had to the city. So.
Believe you me, homie, I know all about losses.
Brooklyn will hit the All-Star break at 24-13, chasing down the Philadelphia 76ers in the Eastern Conference.
The love it, the underdogs on top, and I'm gonna shine, homie, until my heart stop. Go ahead, envy me.
Heard Mark Jones there say it. 24-13. The Nets have hit the break on fire. Winners of 10 of 11. And I say this tongue planted firmly in cheek. I haven't said it in a while, guys. None of the players want the All-Star break, and the way the Nets are playing, they might as well just keep on playing a little bit of old and a little bit of new basketball-wise in this segment as we begin our second hour. Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Zubin. The old James Harden looking like his old self. Incredible. The return to Houston, Jay, victorious. And then we'll get into a little bit of new. What did you make? I know you think he's your MVP frontrunner. And again, the Nets continuing to shine on basketball's biggest stage.
Well, look, there were boos, there were cheers. They gave him a tribute video last night, Key, which you saw James Harden come out, put his hand over his heart. I think he got the respect that he was looking for, but he got that mostly by having a triple-double. 29 points, 14 assists, 10 rebounds. We expected them to win this game, but ultimately watching the relationship that will continue between the Rockets organization and James Harden was the pivotal moment. They're going to retire his jersey, and I think that was Tillman Fertitta, the owner, saying, hey, look, we want to amend ways. The way we handled it, the way we thought you handled it, probably wasn't in the first-class manner, but we're trying to move forward, and I think James Harden handled that very graciously last night.
And they're going to retire his jersey in the future, obviously,
yes.
Right? I think when you look at the difference between an Embiid and a James Harden for MVP, where are these teams going to be in the end? That's how I look at it. You know, I think that the award should run into the postseason. Jalen Rose doesn't think so. Some others doesn't think so. But I think it should run into the postseason before you give it out because, you know, one and done MVPs and your team get bounced in the first round.
I don't like that. You're right.
You know, but I don't know. I don't think that Philadelphia or the Nets will get bounced in the first round. I think both of these guys are playing well. We obviously have seen James Harden continue to do whatever it is that he's always done. I mean, think about it, though. Even in OKC, when he had the minutes he was getting, he was cooking. And then he just got better, and then he became who he is today after his stop in Houston.
And I still have James Harden number 1, Joel Embiid number 2, LeBron James number 3. But I tell you, every time I watch Joel Embiid, I'm like, man, he keeps making his way. Like, he keeps inching up there. I mean, last night was another huge performance against a multi-dimensional defender and Rudy Gobert, who's won Defensive Player of the Year multiple times. And Joel Embiid had 40 points. I mean, I thought the signature game he had against the Bulls, where he went for 50 points, was one. But last night was a game-changer moment for me.
He just needs to stay healthy.
Yes.
I mean, if he can stay healthy, keep his weight down, you know, I think having Glenn Rivers as his coach and that coaching staff that he's assembled in Philadelphia certainly is getting the best out of both him and Ben Simmons, and Tobias Harris is helping along the way as well.
There's no doubt about it. Tobias Harris had 11 points in overtime yesterday. Joel Embiid, 40 and 19. Sixers over the Jazz last night in the extra session. And to Key's point, it's going to be a great race down the rest of the way. Right now, as the Nets hit the All-Star break, the only team they're looking up at in their division is the Sixers, who are a half game better,
yeah,
right? 24 and 12, 24 and 13. It's going to be great coming down the stretch for sure. So that's
and the Nets have been doing it without Kevin Durant.
Right.
So imagine when they're at full strength.
They don't need Kevin Durant.
That calf strain, we'll keep an eye on that. That's a huge, huge story to follow as well. But as Jay said, and we discussed it earlier in the week, on the surface, it seems like a crazy question to ask, but in reality, it's not crazy. Can they actually win it with 2 superstars instead of 3? And Key seems to dissent on that, but we'll see what happens down the stretch. Last note, our buddy Frank Isola, who you see all over ESPN, basketball guy, covered the Knicks for, 25 years. He was on a podcast the other day, and he said, and I thought you would appreciate this, Jay, the NBA is the only sport where after the first 2 games, the MVP discussion begins. In no other sport do we start talking about the MVP. Isola actually has a show on Sirius XM, and it's like a running bit. Like after the first day of the season, it's like, okay, let's get the MVP ladder up. And that's just what makes the NBA unique. Cassius Stanley was drafted into the NBA last year. He was the 54th overall pick. He was the young stud out of Duke. He's going to join us on the show tomorrow, 9:15 a.m. Eastern time. Woj reported late last month that he was also going to be taking part in the slam dunk contest. He's in a strange situation because he was drafted by the Pacers, but he's also a member of the vaunted, yes, you heard it, Fort Wayne Mad Ants. That's the G League outfit for the Indiana Pacers. He's going back and forth. He's going back and forth. The G League is in the bubble right now. Not all teams are there. You have to pay $500,000 just to get into the bubble. And in today's economy, that's a lot to pay for your G League team. Is it really worth it? But you've got the G League as an option. You've got going overseas like you saw the Ball family do. You can go to Australia or New Zealand. But Jay, this morning, you're going to unveil another option for some of the brightest young basketball talent in America.
Yeah, it's an alternative path to college basketball. It's called Overtime Elite. They have made the announcement, story just came out in the New York Times, that they are launching the first professional high school basketball league. So for kids who are juniors and seniors, 16 to 18 years old, they will give them the optionality of earning anywhere between $100,000 and more. They will have equity within the Overtime brand. They will be able to have endorsement deals as far as it relates to name, image, and likeness. And, is working with shoe deals. They'll be able to work with shoe companies to get shoe endorsements. And look, they're also trying to change around the curriculum. So it will be an accredited high school. They still haven't determined where they're going to do this yet. It's one of two cities, but they're going to work with the kids, still get their core curriculum, but then also work with financial literacy and also brand building and things of that sort. So it's we always talk about it. And I know the old guard will come out and say, why are you giving these kids opportunities to earn? Because this will be seen as a competitor to college basketball to a degree. But Key, I've talked about this. This model already exists in Europe. Luka Doncic was a pro when he was 14 years old. So you have this even with Canada up in hockey, Canadian League in hockey, where kids are allowed to earn. They will have to forego their eligibility. That's what the NCAA deems. But I'm glad there is an alternative option out there for kids to earn at an earlier age.
How is this any different than the select type team?
You have to be 19.
Okay.
You have to be 19 years old to participate in that select team for the G League.
And so this is just another opportunity, sort of kind of like minor league baseball, I would guess, because kids could go from high school to minor league baseball. But in this situation, they don't have to graduate from high school. They could just forego whatever it is at their high school and decide to go play in this particular league, but they're still having to go to school and do all those sort of things.
So they'll still go to school. And just to disclose to everybody, I sit on the board. Carmelo Anthony's involved. Obviously, Kevin Durant is involved. A lot of big-time backers are involved. I can't say their names. But yes, it will be an accredited high school.
Okay.
So you will still receive your core curriculum, your core courses.
So is this sort of like prep school?
Yes, essentially, but it will be an official league as well.
But it's a league,
so
but it's kind of like
25 to 30
school, right?
players, yes.
So you get a chance to continue to refine your skills, but also put some money in your pocket
At the same time. Yes. I just think it's a game changer. We talk about it all the time. For kids who, quote unquote, take money now, you will be deemed ineligible in college.
It's an opportunity for guys to get better, an opportunity academically to stay on course, but at the same time, it gives another option for guys to live their dreams.
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with it. We don't say anything about tennis, golf,
Nope.
none of those other sports. And so now basketball has come up with something that's good, man.
And I think this is going to help college basketball. We always talk about, right? Let's be real about it. So if a top-tier kid who's going there to play basketball, right, not going there to go to school, to be frank with you, all you got to do is go to your first semester.
So
you go to your first semester, you get by your first semester, I'm on cruise control.
Right.
So you're not really going to school. So now those kids have an option to go to another place. So now you have kids that are going to school more so to go to school and to participate in that college university.
yeah, and if it doesn't work out in basketball, they at least get their degree and they could go ahead and go to college and finish education if they decide
And
to do
Overtime
that as well.
Elite will pay for your 4 years of college because they consider that you are foregoing your eligibility.
Wow.
That's an extra little wrinkle. Last thing I would just say, real quick, I would say, and I think this is important. You mentioned Luka Doncic. The reality is, it's the most famous athlete in the world today That's how he came up. Lionel Messi, before he became a Barcelona
Yeah.
superstar, played at something called La Masia. La
La
Masia
Masia.
is their trading academy, right? Find him young, find him at Argentina, boom, move him to
What was he,
Spain.
9?
Yeah, he's like a kid. They had a
Yeah,
contract
9.
on a napkin, but they put him in an academy, and the next thing you know, he's one of the biggest athletes in the world. So hopefully for these kids that take advantage of it, it'll be great for them. We're asking you this morning, what constitutes success for your favorite NFL team? A little different for the Jags than it would be, I think, for, let's say, the Green Bay Packers. Tell us what constitutes success. Decisions on the way for so many teams at the quarterback spot, including front and center, Baker Mayfield. Our NFL insider here with all the answers to those quarterback questions next on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
I still think that's